Ever wondered why, in every epic tale, good always triumphs over evil? It's a question as old as time itself, permeating through countless cultures, each with their own unique interpretations. From ancient myths to modern-day cinema, this battle has been depicted in a myriad of ways, sparking intrigue and curiosity. Is it simply the way of the universe, or is there something more profound at play? Today we're going to unravel this enigma. Let's dive into a tale that beautifully illustrates this eternal conflict. Meet our hero, a common man named Bob, who possessed an uncommon belief in himself. Bob, just like you and me, wakes up every morning, has his cup of coffee and goes to work. But there's something distinct about Bob, something that sets him apart from the crowd, his unwavering belief in himself. Bob is not a superhero with a cape, nor a millionaire with a fancy car. He's a regular guy, living a regular life. But inside that seemingly ordinary exterior lies an extraordinary spirit. He believes in his potential, in his ability to shape his own destiny. He trusts himself, even when the odds are stacked against him. His belief is not loud or boastful, it's quiet, steady and unyielding. It's in the way he faces each day, each challenge and each setback. It's in the way he refuses to be defined by his circumstances. Little did Bob know, his life was about to take an extraordinary turn. Enter the villain, a man of power and cruelty, seeking to exploit Bob for his own gains. Let's call him Shadow. Shadow wasn't your average antagonist. He was a man of immense influence, with a mind as sharp as a razor blade and a heart as cold as a winter's night. His greatest weapon, manipulation. He could twist words and actions, turning them into puppet strings to control those around him. Now you might be wondering, how does our good-natured Bob get tangled up with such a character? Well, it all began when Bob unknowingly stumbled upon Shadow's wicked plan. A plan so devious, it would send shivers down even the bravest of souls. Shadow's intention was to exert control over the minds of the innocent, exploiting their fears and insecurities for his own selfish gains. He wanted to create a world where everyone danced to his tunes, a world where he was the puppet master, and Bob, unfortunately, was to become his first puppet. The machinations of Shadow were subtle and insidious. Bob, with his trusting nature, found himself slowly pulled into the vortex of Shadow's manipulation. It was a slow descent into a world of lies and deceit, a world where right and wrong became blurred under the weight of Shadow's influence. But, as the saying goes, even in the darkest of times, one only needs to remember to turn on the light. And light, in this case, was Bob's unwavering spirit. Despite the darkness encroaching upon him, Bob held on to his principles, his belief in goodness and truth. Bob was up against a formidable foe, but he was not one to back down easily. Shadow may have been powerful, but Bob had something Shadow lacked: a heart filled with courage and a spirit unbroken. This was not the end, but merely the beginning of a battle between good and evil, a battle that would test the limits of Bob's strength and resilience. Bob was presented with a challenge, one that seemed impossible to overcome. Picture this, if you will: Bob, our hero, facing a giant maze. Not your regular garden variety maze, oh no. This was a labyrinth of epic proportions, with walls reaching up to the sky, twisting and winding paths, and dead ends as common as chips at a British seaside. And the cherry on top, it was full of riddles, each more perplexing than the last. Now, you might be thinking, well, that doesn't sound too bad. A bit of a brain teaser, a bit of a workout, Bob can handle it. But here's the twist. Our maze wasn't just a physical challenge, it was a test of character, a psychological gauntlet. Each riddle was designed to play on Bob's insecurities, his fears, his doubts. Every wrong turn, every dead end was a blow to his confidence, a whisper in his ear saying, "You can't do this." But let's inject a bit of humour into the mix, shall we? Imagine Bob standing at the entrance looking up at this towering behemoth of a maze, and he says with a twinkle in his eye and a grin on his face, "Well, at least it's not a Sudoku. I'm rubbish at those." And then off he goes into the maze, facing each riddle, each dead end with a shrug and a smile. He stumbles, he falters, he goes around in circles for what feels like an eternity. But does he give up? No, he laughs, he jokes, he keeps going. He makes friends with a family of squirrels, has a picnic with them. He starts naming the dead ends after his old school teachers. He even starts a rock collection because, well, why not? And through it all, through the frustration, the confusion, the moments of despair, Bob never loses faith in himself. He never lets the maze get the better of him. He never stops believing that he can conquer it. Because he knows, deep down, that he has what it takes to overcome any challenge, no matter how twisted it may be. But remember, Bob believed in himself, even when the odds were stacked against him. With a twinkle in his eye and a heart full of courage, Bob decided to face the challenge head-on. He knew the road ahead was fraught with obstacles, but he was not one to back down. His belief in himself was his strongest suit. It wasn't just a belief, it was an unshakable conviction, a fire that burned brightly within him, illuminating his path through the darkest of times. Bob was not your usual hero. He was an ordinary man with an extraordinary spirit. He didn't have superpowers, nor did he possess a magical sword. His weapon was his indomitable spirit. His armor was his unwavering belief in himself. As he faced the challenge, he did so with a unique blend of humor and wit. He turned the tables on his adversaries, not with brute force, but with cleverness and a hearty laugh. He laughed in the face of adversity. He chuckled at the absurdity of the situation. He found humor even in the most trying of circumstances. This was his way of coping, of keeping the darkness at bay. His belief in himself was infectious. It spread among those around him, giving them hope, giving them strength. They saw in Bob a reflection of their own potential, their own power. They began to believe in themselves too. They began to see the light amidst the darkness, the silver lining in the stormy clouds. Bob's journey was not just about overcoming a challenge, it was about inspiring others to believe in themselves, to realize their own power. He was proving that it's not the size of the dog in the fight, it's the size of the fight in the dog. He was showing the world that even the most ordinary among us can do extraordinary things. All it takes is a bit of belief, a bit of courage. As he pressed on, tackling each obstacle with a grin and a laugh, Bob was proving that belief in oneself can indeed move mountains. The villain, underestimating Bob's strength, was in for a surprise. As the story unfolds, we find Bob, our unwavering protagonist, standing tall and resolute in the face of adversity. A man of modest means and humble beginnings, Bob was never one to shrink back from a challenge. He was a testament to the indomitable spirit of good, a beacon of hope in a world often clouded by darkness. With every confrontation, every twist and turn the antagonist threw his way, Bob remained steadfast. He was not swayed by the villain's cunning tricks, nor did he fall prey to the temptation of taking the easy way out. His belief in himself and the power of good was his guiding light, his North Star. As the climax approached, the villain, blinded by his own hubris, believed he had Bob cornered. But Bob, fueled by his unwavering belief, rose to the occasion. He met the villain's every move with a counter of his own, his resilience shining through in every action. He was a force to be reckoned with, a wall of good against the tide of evil. In the final showdown, Bob's strength of character was his ultimate weapon. He faced down the villain, his determination sparking like a flame in the face of the chilling winds of evil. And when the dust settled, it was Bob standing victorious. He had not only defeated the antagonist, but also affirmed the power of belief and the strength of good. The villain's underestimation of Bob had led to his downfall. His evil intentions had been no match for Bob's unwavering belief in himself and the power of good. It was a victory not just for Bob, but for everyone who believed in the power of good over evil. And so, once again, good triumphed over evil, proving that belief in oneself is the greatest power one can possess. With the villain defeated, Bob returned to his ordinary life, or so it seemed. But let's not be so quick to gloss over things. Bob's life had transformed, and he was far from the ordinary man he once was. He'd faced evil, stared it down, and came out victorious. He was now a beacon of hope, a symbol of resilience, and an embodiment of the belief that good always triumphs over evil. His mornings now began with a newfound zest, every sunrise a testament to his victory. The aroma of his coffee seemed richer, the chirping of the birds, a symphony of his triumph. His ordinary life was no longer ordinary, but rather extraordinary. Bob became a changed man. He found himself standing taller, smiling more, and embracing the world with open arms. He was no longer the same Bob who would shy away from challenges. He had realized that within him resided an indomitable spirit, a spirit that could conquer anything and everything if he just believed. Now he was a man who believed in himself and his abilities. He believed in the power of good, and he saw the world through a lens of optimism and hope. He knew that the battle was not against others, but against the doubts within oneself. He had learned that faith in oneself could move mountains, while lack of it could create them. The changes in his life were not just personal. The world around him noticed too. People looked at him differently, with respect and admiration. His story inspired others, gave them the courage to face their fears and the strength to believe in their abilities. His victory had become a beacon of hope for many. In the end, Bob's journey wasn't just about defeating a villain. It was about self-discovery, about unearthing the power within, about realizing that he was more than just an ordinary man. He was a hero, not because he had extraordinary powers, but because he believed in himself. Bob's tale reminds us that no matter how ordinary we may seem, we all have the power to do extraordinary things. So, have you ever faced a challenge that seemed insurmountable only to conquer it with sheer belief in yourself? Isn't it incredible how the human spirit can rise to the occasion in the face of adversity? How the seemingly impossible becomes possible when we choose to believe in our abilities, in our strength, in our worth? Each of us carries within us a powerful force that can overcome the fiercest of challenges. That force, my friends, is self-belief. Just think back to a time in your life when you were up against something that seemed larger than life, a daunting task, a formidable opponent, a complex problem, or perhaps your own fears and insecurities. You might have felt small, overwhelmed, or even defeated. But you weren't, were you? You stood your ground, you fought your battles, and you emerged victorious. Why? Because you chose to believe in yourself. You chose to trust your abilities, your instincts, your resilience. You chose to face your fears head-on, not because you were fearless, but because you were brave. You chose to embrace the challenge, not because it was easy, but because you knew it would make you stronger, wiser, better. That, my friends, is the power of self-belief. It is a beacon that guides us through the darkest nights, a shield that protects us from the fiercest storms, a sword that cuts through the thickest obstacles. It is a force that propels us forward, that lifts us higher, that takes us places we never thought we could reach. Now let's take this newfound wisdom and apply it to our everyday lives. Let's face our challenges with courage and conviction. Let's embrace our journey with optimism and enthusiasm. Let's believe in our potential, in our worth, in our ability to make a difference. And while we're at it, why not share our stories of triumph and transformation? Let's inspire each other with our tales of courage and resilience. Let's motivate each other with our examples of self-belief and determination. Let's encourage each other with our experiences of growth and evolution. We, here at this channel, invite you to do just that. Subscribe to our channel and join our community of self-believers. Share your stories in the comments section and let the world know about your extraordinary feats. Let's create a space where we can learn from each other, inspire each other, and grow together. Thank you for joining us on this intriguing journey. Remember, you too are capable of extraordinary feats. Believe in yourself, and the world will believe in you.